Okay, welcome one, welcome all. Handkerchief Dynasty. On a world spinning its way to damnation, amidst the fear and despair of a broken human race, who is left to fight for what's good and pure and call out the fucking shitty refs of the NHL? Handkerchief Dynasty. I am, as always, your secret professor, joined by my good friend and host of hosts, the High Priest of Orthodox Magic. You're looking very well kept these days. You look like you just finished some sort of retreat or some sort of detox, some sort of purification ritual, perhaps.
A retreat. You said it. You said it, brother.
Haven't seen you in a little while. It's been a little while. Really good to have you back on mic. I was listening to our last episode preparing for tonight, and I realized how awesome it is to get you on the show when you're available, brah. So how did you feel about the game tonight? Give me your thoughts of the game versus the Canucks. It was a entertaining little game, gotta say.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was a no doubter.
It was a no doubter. Yeah, it was a clincher. It was a playoff clinching game type thing. You know, like when you clinch with a few weeks left in the season. You know, it's a done deal. It's a foregone conclusion of a playoff clinching regular season win.
I mean,
they made it interesting. They scored a goal late to keep the pulse flowing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what that's like until like right now, pretty much. Exactly. So I'm not really sure. There's a lot. I got a lot of strange new feelings right now. I don't know what I'm going to think of these next few games. Like, what do I? You know what I mean?
It's just weird. It's weird to be cheering for an Oilers team that like you just have a steady kind of solid confidence is going to be a good team like for a while. You know, like they just seem like a dominant team right now a little bit. Knock on wood. You know,
I guess so. I
mean,
we
got great. We got great forwards with tons of skill. They all support the puck really well. They're playing as a unit. We got good depth on defense. We're getting good goaltending. It's like what's the problem area really? You know.
I don't know, but I mean,
these are the scoring on a nice passing play to Yessi. You know,
I know
the smile of Yessi Puljujärvi. Like there's universes in that smile, in the width of that smile. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's pretty special. So
it reminds me of like when there's this old Hindu story about when Krishna was like taking human form and like hanging out amongst the mortals. You know, this is what Hindu deities would do. You know, it's what you do. Mm-hmm. There's another funny story about that because there's a joke that when Christian missionaries first showed up to India, they were like, "Oh, you know, I want to tell you about this guy. He was a god, and then he came down to earth as a man, and he died for our sins. He's like amazing." And they're like, "Oh yeah, we got people to do that all the time here. It's no problem." It's like all they do. So Krishna comes down to earth. He's a baby, and his nursemaid. Have I told you this on the podcast before?
Go ahead.
It's like she accuses the baby of putting a piece of dirt in its mouth, and she's mad at him. And so to prove he didn't put any dirt in his mouth, he opens up his mouth, and she looks into his mouth, and she sees the entire universe because he's Krishna. And she's like, "Oh, okay, my bad. Sorry, Lord Krishna. No problem." And it's like Jesse Puljujärvi's smile has this like otherworldly presence to it, where you just feel like I don't know what it is. It's like it's not a simple smile. It's not a simple happiness. You know, it's it feels like actually a deeper joie de vivre that stresses back into the mists of history longer even than like language or our current culture itself, ultimately, to me.
It almost feels maybe it's like the source of joie de vivre.
The source?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No? Well, it's my source of joie de vivre right now, certainly tonight, seeing him and Connie on the bench together. And then how about Connie's goal? Like the goal, Connie's goal was just like such a like moment where you're just like, man, like what is this goalie like supposed to do? You know, it's like, what are any of these guys supposed to fucking do against this guy? It's like obscene. Like I'm actually kind of thinking that it's probably only a matter of time. Like you remember the famous like Lenny Bruce obscenity trials, right?
Like vividly.
Yeah. So Lenny Bruce was put on trial for obscenity as a stand-up comedian in like the 50s. And I think we're going to see a similar set of obscenity trials centered around Connor McDavid and his obscene skills, you know? So they're going to take him into a courtroom where they're going to be like, they're going to show all this footage of goals, right? Because they're going to be, they're just, there's no other way any of these people, the players, the other teams, management, coaches, there's nothing else they can do against him. So they're going to have to resort to what they call lawfare, where you try and resolve the matter purely through like aggressive action in the courts, you know? And you even compromise the legal system to like your own ends, right? But the problem is, if they get that footage in front of any fucking Canadian or even American jury, or Northern European, Russian even, like they're all just going to see the footage, and you're going to hear people making like orgasmic sounds, and like no trial, no jury in the world would ever convict him, But his skill is otherworldly and obscene. It's like it's now the source of like a quasi-sexual pleasure throughout the hockey meta universe. You know what I mean? Where it's like people are just watching Connor McDavid highlights and they're like, oh, like it's the exact same sounds. Ultimately,
yeah,
if you're lucky.
Yeah, I mean,
terrible lighting in here tonight, man. I really got to set up a home studio. To help fund a home studio, please subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/Hankderchief Dynasty. We've got really fun bonus episodes up there. I'm really a big fan of my last classic mixtape. I really hope I don't end up getting a master's in arts from DC University. What they call a DC MA or Master of Arts. You ever heard of those?
No.
Okay, never mind. Inside joke. So. Also, the burning question right now for me is a young man by the name of Ryan McLeod of the Clan McLeod. It's like Highlander is such an amazing movie. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before like the sound bites start rolling here, because he's big, he can skate, he gets in passing lanes. He's like fucking like a handful of fucking games into his career. He's got just like a tiny bit of hair on his cheek, but. There's a player there. I think anyone can see there's a player there. It's like sometimes it's like a young guy comes up and you're like, we'll see. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. Tyler Benson, etc. Fucking who was the one that played on the wing with McDavid that one like half year?
Ty Ratty.
Whatever happened to Ty Ratty? Is he playing in like the Chinese league or something? Where is he? I think we have a player who's like a star in the Chinese league, don't we? Or not a former player.
I'm not
sure. Shanghai Dragons or something. I'm gonna look that up.
The Shanghai Habs.
Jamie, can we get young Jamie on that? But yeah, what are your thoughts on McLeod? Just give them to me. As the High Priest of Oilers Magic, you have to have some thoughts.
Yeah, he's very tall. He's very jangly. Like this kind of.
He's got a great stick.
He's a little toothy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah.
Seems to be able to make a play. He's still getting up to speed. You can still see that, as he would with any player, but like it's not exactly like a two minute debut a la Gaetan Haas. And like, how about Gaetan Haas going from like beloved lunch pail, hard hat, undershirt, saying "Hey Ma" and howling cat calls at passersby type player,
right?
Because like I still think Gaetan Haas is a player. I still want to see him in the fold as like a depth player. But like McLeod has really helped everyone kind of start to really turn the page pretty hardcore on the whole Gaetan Haas thing, because it's like McLeod. Remember our agreement, Murdoch. The Highlander is mine. That movie was like it's like the case of just like any single element in the production of that film had gone slightly awry, it would have been like the most B movie of like all fucking time. Like holy shit.
So
one thing would have gone off in Highlander. The whole house of cards comes tumbling down.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And also, to be honest, I like the assist from Kulikov, It was nice to see a goal from Kulikov to Cahoon. Just has a nice ring to it. From Kulikov to Cahoon, it's like the only way it could be better is if Cuckoo was that had the secondary assist. You know what I mean?
Kulikov to Cahoon kind of sounds like lyrics in a song where it's like place names, where it's like I've been everywhere. You know what I mean? Like kind of funny Cucamonga, Seattle, that sort of thing. Yeah. Funny place names.
Funny place names are like, Last Road Out of Dallas. That was the song I wrote about the Oilers Dallas Stars rivalry from the 90s.
Mm-hmm. What was the name of the song?
It was called Last Road Out of Dallas. It was more of like a electro dubstep country kind of hybrid rap mix. I rapped kind of
a little bit. Like Lil Nas X. Pre Lil Nas X.
Yeah, the Fort Meadows retirement community said I was the worst performer they'd ever had.
That's not true.
That was tough. Worse. That was they probably have.
They've seen much worse.
How are you feeling about Yamamoto right now though? Because he is like a turnover fucking bulldog of a fucking judo motherfucking machine right now, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I wish he would be scoring more, but maybe last year was kind of like an aberration. And I'm not. I mean, I wish for everyone in the world that they were scoring more. That's just like a general wish to humanity. But without the scoring, like it's not a real problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I love his game. I think he's great. I think he's
it's kind of an interesting little line they threw together there, eh? That second line.
Yeah. It's like little feisty guys.
Yeah. But like it's feisty. It's just feisty guys.
Yeah,
if you think about it,
little guys too.
Yeah, they're little guys that happen to be feisty.
Yeah.
Which was also the name of a project I was involved in once, but I don't want to go into that one here. I'd rather just leave that one at that. So how are you feeling now? Because like we're in the home stretch. It's a really bizarre feeling because like the Oilers have like quote comfortably clinched a playoff spot, and to comfortably clinch, I mean. This is another thing, like to use the word clinch in this way is very strange experience for me personally. You know, I've gone through most of my life only ever associating the word clinch with certain painful activities. You know what I mean? Whereas now it's like we've comfortably clinched a playoff spot.
You know what?
In the past sense. I don't even really know.
I'm much more comfortable with the word clench.
Well, no, clench is great. Clench is like
it's
refreshing beer.
Clench
your fist, you know, right before you have a nice little punching party, you know. You ever just spend the evening punching the wall over and over again, until your knuckles bleed, you know?
Yeah. It's not good. Not good.
Yeah, that's probably true. All right, fair enough. I'll give up the punching the wall thing.
Yeah, but I'm not familiar with it either. That's what I mean. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with myself. Are you even going to watch these next few games?
I mean,
I probably will, but I could also maybe there's a bit of pleasure to be gained from just knowing they're happening and going for a walk or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going for a walk. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, you know, it's even just like hearing the commentary from like a Jack Michaels. Like, were you watching the game? Or did you listen tonight?
I watched the game tonight.
It had a very it had this feel, the way I imagine, again, something I've never experienced. It seemed to me like a very comfortable like dinner party in like an upper middle class kind of professional household in a nice house with nice architecture, you know, that you've been to a half dozen to a dozen times. So you're comfortably part of the milieu, wrapped into the social fabric. It's like you're not just going there and be like, oh, wow, nice house. It's like you've been there a bunch of times before. You're already friends. It's cool. You have nice conversation. And it's just nice, you know, you have nice wine, nice cheese. You know,
it was breezy.
And like Jack Michaels' commentary kind of reflected that there was this almost like, again, joie de vivre. There was like, it reminded me of this painting. I think it's the name of the painting is Contentment. And it's, I often think about it because it's like on the Wikipedia page for like the word contentment or something. And it's this like old man who's like having some wine, like he's like fallen asleep in like the garden. He's wearing what do they wear in the Turkish Empire? They outlawed it. Ataturk outlawed it when the fez. He's wearing a fez, and he's sleeping. And then there's a little girl who has noticed he's sleeping and is like stealing a tiny little sip of the wine. You know, she has to like go up on her tippy toes. I feel like I've said this all before on the podcast. I feel
No,
like
you
I've only had
haven't.
like 5 anecdotes.
No,
And like it felt like that. Like I imagined like Jack Michaels being that guy in that moment where he's like, you know what? Like I've been covering this shitty ass fucking team for like a decade, and like now it's just like you're in the luxury lane of life. You know,
yes.
we clinched with like how many games left? How many weeks are left? Like it was never even a fucking question that we were going to miss the playoffs at any point. At any point,
No.
like the shadow of a doubt never was even on the goddamn fucking horizon the whole year. You
I know.
In oil country, the land of dread, the land of the evil vortex, a la Buffy the Vampire Slayer, under the city that pulls hopes and dreams into a chasm of nothingness. You know, like that's the situation. That was the situation prior to now. So, I mean, really, like we're having to adjust to the prospect. I hate to break it to you, my friend, but the prospect of sweet success.
Yeah, and I mean, not only that, like we're probably going to have. Well, I think we are. We're going to have like home ice advantage too. Like, when was the last time we had home ice advantage in the playoffs? It's
when was
like
last time
pre-Dallas. You know what I mean? Like it's a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. So I don't know. This is all super new territory.
All right, Nuge watch. Do you think Nuge gets re-signed by the Edmonton Oilers this summer? Yes or no? That's first question. Do you think, not whether do you think they should, not what you would personally do. Do you think it will happen? Yes or no? Tell me, motherfucker.
Well, it's gotta, like, I just can't imagine Nuge like saying
not
no.
Being an Oiler. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just can't imagine him saying no that many times. But he's already said no a bunch of times. I don't know.
I mean, you know, there's still some season to play. Like, I'm sure, like a nice, tasty playoff run. You know, it's like the same way, like a nice, tasty sandwich will help in a contract negotiation. You get a nice pesto, like one of those pressed paninos. You know, like with nice sides, a freshing kind of like fizzy but not too sweet pop. You know, they'll sign anything. I'm telling you from personal experience as a grifter and confidence man. I think so too. I think it's gonna happen. I'm worried, but you know, this is the way. It's like the way you worry when like your kids go off to camp. You know, will they get dismembered or molested? Maybe, but like they'll probably come home okay.
Yeah. Well, I just don't know. I mean, what else would Nuge possibly do? Go play for another team as the Nuge? Like, it would take him so long to become the Nuge somewhere else. You know what I mean? Kind of a waste of time.
Could he even be the Nuge somewhere else? I don't think he could be. I mean,
I don't think
is James McNeil the real deal in Edmonton anymore though? Either like does the nickname carry over?
Yeah.
Did someone like shoot a gun into your eye? What happened to your eye, brother?
Oh,
it's all
my
fucked
eye.
up, man.
I know.
That sucks.
I was launching snot rockets and plopped a blood vessel in my eye.
Brutal, man.
Thanks for noticing.
Good besides that, though. Your skin looks very clear and like vibrant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just my eye is hideous.
You look like Meryl Streep, like about 45 minutes into Death Becomes Her after she's had the water of eternal life. Okay, so Nuge is gonna get re-signed, but like Larson was someone who was on my mind tonight because I got to be honest, like I'm fucking loving Adam Larson to bits right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how you don't want him to be an Oiler, and it's really interesting to have like I can't remember the last time. Like it's a combination of very many, like a lot of different factors, right? We have a good team who looks like they're going to be good for a while. We've clinched a playoff spot comfortably. We have home ice advantage for the first time in decades. Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, we have a bunch of UFAs who we're holding on to basically as like free trade, like almost the way you'd get guys at the trade deadline. You know, we're holding on to these guys instead of obviously trading them, which would be ridiculous. But like we got how many names that we actually want to re-sign this offseason? And if the team has some success going forward, I don't see why we don't have a good chance of re-signing a lot of them too. Because it's not as though the grass is always going to be greener in other places, you know? Well, there is going to be downward pressure on contracts.
Yeah, I think the grass won't be greener in other places. Like the Oilers have the two top guys. So if you're a guy that likes to score goals, I mean, we have the two best guys doing that on the Oilers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why would you go? Where would you want to go? I just don't understand where else, like what other option. I mean, I guess you could go to like New York and play on the Rangers, but the Rangers like stink. So unless like your main concern, unless you're like, I don't care at this point. Like, I know I've spent my whole life, playing hockey and trying to win, but now I'm at an age where I just want to live in New York City. That's the main thing. So if you're that guy, which I'm pretty sure that guy doesn't exist, I don't think.
Okay,
or if he does, that guy isn't the Nuge. You know what I mean? I just don't think, like, why would you go anywhere else? Like, where is a more attractive option?
I mean, it's hard for us to see though, because we're in the middle of the beast. We're in the eye of the storm. It's like when you're a bad dresser. You're not aware of it. It's how you exist. You're not aware of fashion. It exists outside of your purview.
See,
so for us as Oilers fans, we can't even imagine a universe where Nuge would want to be somewhere else or something else other than an Oiler.
I think also as Oilers fans, our view of the team is somewhat warped in a way that it's like an inferiority complex, where I think like we kind of think that the rest of the hockey world isn't as equally amazed and just like, wow, Edmonton's the best team. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are like, holy crap. Like, I think we think that that's not happening, but I think it is happening. Like, I think the rest of the league is like, wow, I sure wish I could play on that team. You know what I mean? Like, they got a bunch of guys, like, you know what I mean? I just don't see, like, I think we undervalue the crazy success this team is having right now. Because
as sports fans, we literally have every single possible like psychic malady one could have.
Yes.
Vis-a-vis anxiety, imposter syndrome. What was the one that you said? Stockholm syndrome? No, inferiority complex. Inferiority complex. Like, there's literally like you could run the gamut of everything in the fucking DSM-4, and Oilers fans would probably qualify for like 80% of the things in there.
Honestly,
they're on Percocets, everything.
Yeah, so I think that like Barry and Nuge will both stay. Like, they're not.
I don't see Barry staying. I think Barry is much harder. Like, I'd be way more impressed to see Kenny pull that one off than Nuge. He's got way fewer reasons to stay. But like,
what about like success and winning? Like, from what I've seen from that guy and what he said, I don't know. He strikes me as the kind of guy where that shit's like very important to him. Like,
why would it be important after having like they go sour 2 times in 2 other markets prior to this? Yeah, I guess it makes sense that it would be important to him, like the right fit,
Yeah, because it didn't work in those other 2 places. And those other 2 places were places where some, shuckster could have sold him lines like, Colorado, like, that's where you want to be. I'm like, same with the Maple Leafs, know what I mean?
That's the voice of the guy for the Maple Leafs. He's like, hey, but Maple Leafs are just like a wash in cash. Like, I think like when you like walk through the doors of like Maple Leaf head offices, they just like wash you with bills, like tailored bills, that have been sterilized as you walk through. Like, they will throw anything. They have so much money. It's like insane.
Like, the head office is just like a nonstop money tunnel.
Yeah.
There's just like money blowing around constantly. You're just like fighting your way through bills.
You're not even Scrooge McDucking. It's just like an actual like obstacle course. You're like paper cuts on like 75% of your face.
Yeah, but I think like the thing about I don't know. It's not the same. You know what I mean? They don't have. I mean, for as bad as our psychological problems are, I think I've almost broken my chair here.
That's good. No, Toronto's are much worse.
Much worse.
Yeah,
much, like, just crazy.
Let's not get crazy.
And I think that those ailments, like, I don't know. I can't imagine playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think it would be hell. I think it would be hell on earth because it's expectations.
No, it's being
combined.
locked in. It's the golden handcuffs. It's like getting a job in the oil industry. You're like a normal human being. You're walking around, walking, talking. You have your own thoughts, feelings, whatever. Then all of a sudden, this like massive petrochemical firm comes and drops like, oh, we're gonna pay you 285 grand, and you'll never leave because it's a billion times more than you're ever gonna fucking make anywhere else. Okay, so I don't know who you thought you were up until you started making this salary, my friend, but we now own you. You're chattel. You know, that's what it's like playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I figure because like,
so are you
as long as they keep you around before, except of course they can break up with you whenever they want. You know, so
and then you're ruined. You're ruined at that point. Like there's no coming back. You're spoiled goods once you leave the Toronto Maple Leafs, unless you're a guy like Tyson Barrie. I think, who was just like, it's not happening here. I want out. Like you guys are actual losers. Turns out, like I was lied to. I was sold a bill of goods.
Like was the first bill of goods like a fraudulent bill of goods? You figure?
I don't know.
Like the very first time. No, you said bill of goods. No, but exactly. Yeah, but I just the phrase "sold a bill of goods" is so like. It's just one of those phrases that speaks to like not only our present epoch, but like the whole series of epochs leading up to this, you know?
Like the history of commerce.
Yeah, exactly. The history of commerce, which and its next final stage will be determined post Nugent Hopkins contract. We just need that piece to fall, and then the final edge will kind of curl off.
Do you think the Oilers are on a collision course with the Maple Leafs right now? Do you think like that's happening?
They are, but it doesn't worry me that much because, to be honest, like I think we're a better team, and I mean that as like a team.
Yeah,
because hockey is the ultimate team game, you know.
Yeah.
And like we were talking before, like one of the things we've talked about on Hankderchief Dynasty, follow us at Hankderchief DY1 on Twitter. High Priest Oil is at High Priest Oil. Is we talk about what makes hockey a unique sport among sports, like what makes it special, you know, what does it have that other sports don't have? And we've talked about before how it's the ultimate team game, it's the ultimate flow game, it's the ultimate momentum game. Okay. But now I just want to talk about the pure physics of it. Okay. You know, it's like if you're a football player, okay, you're a quarterback, you're gonna do a little run, you're gonna do a nice little run, then you're gonna throw the ball. Same thing if you're a basketball player, baseball player, you know. It's a little bit different than being on blades of steel, flying along ice at ridiculous speeds, and then someone passes you a vulcanized rubber puck while you're traveling, I don't know, 35 miles an hour or whatever, and then you use whatever muscles exist in your body that's been primed for 25 plus years of the you know, using all the vast knowledge and resources of thousands of years of human science and medicine, and you use that to shoot the puck, but you're already flying at like 35 miles an hour or whatever, right? It's like, what other sport has a dude at that velocity who then takes an object and hits it with a fucking stick? It's like we should do it's like highlight on skates or something. It's crazy.
Highlight on skates. A light bulb just went off over my head when he said highlight on skates.
Yeah, but like, you know what I mean though? Yeah. I just heard like a cash register go off right behind.
Yeah.
And like that's one of the things I really love about hockey too, is it's just like the physics involved are just like really incredible that way, you know? Because it's like not just a guy throwing a ball or something else, you know? And it's not even a guy hitting a ball with a stick or something.
That'd be
else.
a great
it's a guy on a vehicle. It's like polo, you know?
You should pitch that. You should pitch that to the league, like you know, not just a guy throwing a ball.
You know, that's actually not bad. That could be as good as Think Outside the Bun. Remember Think Outside the Bun? Remember when like Taco Bell was like cool? What a weird, like sad cultural wasteland the 1990s must have been for like Taco Bell to be like the it thing for a while. People shooting shit out of like a disgusting giant plastic gun into like taco shells. I ate so much Taco Bell though when I was a kid. It's like,
yeah, it's great. I wish I had Taco Bell right now.
That's true. Yeah, I wish you had it too, but not me. I had a nice dinner. So what are your other thoughts? I mean, we haven't actually got on mic in a little while here, in a hot minute. So So tell me what else is going on in your mind vis-a-vis the oil team, otherwise known as the Edmonton Oilers. Sometimes I call them the oil team.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know why. It's just one of my things. Or the greater Oilers cultural landscape. I mean, it's still been like a pretty crazy, interesting end to the regular season. I was really expecting the joy to have completely sapped out, but it's somehow maintained. The level's been steady.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there? I mean, from a strictly, Alberta's like the COVID hotspot. I think it's like us, like Bahrain and Uganda are like the places being most fucked by COVID right now.
How did that happen? What happened?
Well, elect clowns expect a circus, as the old expression goes, right? So there's a part of me also that is really dreading the Oilers playoff run, because it's going to get underway like in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, like, we could be at, refrigerator trucks phase in the city. And it's just going to be...
Are the hospitals like overrun and shit?
Yeah, I think that like our ICU is pretty much full. And it's going like up. Like, we'll probably hit 3,000 cases a day sometime this week in Alberta.
Whereas normally this time of year, like during playoff time in 2 weeks, like we would normally be going through 3,000 cases a day of beer in the city.
Yes, exactly. So places like White Ave and stuff, which are already like nutty right now. Like I went for a
nutty.
drive.
What do you mean nutty?
Just like packed, super busy.
Really?
Like, it's like, yeah.
Wait, people are allowed inside the bars?
No, they're allowed out on the patio. But I mean, like,
yeah, the whole patio thing is like a weird, like mixed bag of like bit of right, bit of wrong, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have a bunch of people on a patio and they're like whooping it up, the whole patio outdoor transmission thing like goes out the patio non-existent window, right? Because nobody's really maintaining social distance. It's like the White House Rose Garden, right? So when the playoffs get underway, I'm a little bit worried about what that's going to be like. Could be like it's sort of like a perfect storm is brewing here right now. So there's a part of me also that is thinking about that kind of more than I'd like to be thinking about it. You know what I mean? It's COVID's shadow is looming very large over the city of Champs right now.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's also like Broberg.
Yeah, Broberg's in town. He came to town, right? And then we've signed fucking Konovalov too to an entry-level deal. Which is like it's like the Konovalov entry-level deal is like our entry-level deal for a goalie. You know what I mean? When people talk about this is your entry-level hi-fi, okay?
Yeah.
This is your entry-level smartphone, your entry-level wristwatch. The Konovalov entry-level contract is our entry-level contract for an entry-level goaltender,
Yeah.
Because we haven't really had an entry-level goaltender contract to really be excited about in a while. I mean,
you're right.
We sign guys, it's okay. Yeah, we signed that guy. He's going to play in the minors for us or whatever. But like, you're not expecting anything from that shit. Like, not except for maybe this guy. Like, maybe that's why it's our entry-level contract with him.
What about Stuart Skinner?
We got to give up the ghost on Stuart Skinner. Yeah,
why? He's like one of the best goalies in the AHL right now.
You're one of the best goalies in the AHL right now. Like, do you want the litany of guys who you can list under that fucking like you're damning with faint praise sometimes with the best goalie of the AHL thing a little bit, bro. I mean, the AHL is the AHL. I mean, I'll cheer like hell for him, but I wouldn't necessarily expect huge things. I expect a little bit more out of Konovalov. I expect to learn how to pronounce his name before I see Jeff Skinner win like a handful of games in the NHL. But who knows? Because our goaltending situation is like anyone's guess right now, long term.
Yeah.
I think, okay, here's a question for you. Maybe final thought, okay? Nice. We would like to end with goaltending. It's our last line of podcasting defense. Let's say we aren't able to offload Koskinen this offseason, and he's part of our goaltending tandem next year as our backup.
No, there's no tandem. Backup.
He's our backup.
Yeah.
I said backup.
You said part of our goaltending. Okay, sure.
As a backup.
Right. Okay.
So, and we get Koskinen goaltending. Okay, let's also just assume we get Koskinen level goaltending. What's the number that you would be comfortable to see the Oilers sign him at for the following year to play as the backup? What's the number?
Like for 1 year?
Let's say 1 year. Yeah, one more sexy year. You know, let's go bald. We got a bald thing. We got a thing for bald goaltenders.
Like 1.4, 1.5.
1.5. I was going to say 1.5. Yeah, okay, that's the right number. Yeah. Have you been talking to the numerologist again? Because your numbers have been really on point lately.
That's all I do.
You son of a bitch. That's where you've been. You went to a numerological cruise, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
do you think a lot of people are saying Smith comes back for $1 million? I've heard that next year.
What is the deal with like us being able to sign Smith for a really low number next year, even though he had great numbers, right? Because it kind of is a thing for older goaltenders, though. You know, there's like a goaltend, there's like an age tax they pay where it's like, hey man, you're 38, 39, we're not giving you more than $2 million. Like I'd be surprised if he got more than 2.5 with bonuses, even though he's put up great numbers. But that's also downward pressure on the goaltending market in general too. There's going to be a ton of good free agent goalies this year, a fucking cavalcade, a fucking smorgasbord, a cornucopia of goaltending potential free agents. You know?
Yeah, I just can't picture. I mean, I still really think that Mike Smith has a shot at the Vezina Trophy, in my opinion. It's a trophy. Sure. It's voted on by GMs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
what a weird group to vote on an award for something in a weird way. But in a weird way, the goaltending award makes sense in a weird way because GMs, like their asses are so tied to goaltenders. It's like it's got to be like all they think about. Like when you're an NHL GM, GM's wife, I hate to break it to you, he's thinking about that goaltender more than you, day in, day out, hour in, hour out, minute to minute, from the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to sleep. He's thinking about that goaltender twice as much as you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The man that used to be your husband is now obsessed with the goaltender because his ass is fucking surgically sewn to that goaltender.
I just can't imagine a guy who either wins or he's even nominated for it getting a contract the next year for $1 million. Like it's not going to happen. Mike Smith is going to make
be 1
$1
million. That's ridiculous. It's going to be at least. I mean, it has to. If he continues this way, it has to be like 2, including bonuses. But that's with the downward pressure on the market. You know, and a hometown discount, and him being a good team player and being like, you know what, I want to be here. And
I mean, you don't think another team would take a run at Mike Smith? Like if we're not going to pay him, like of course they would. Coming off this season, I mean, look at the goalies that teams have taken runs at. Holtby, that guy kind of stinks now.
I mean, like in terms of taking rational or irrational runs at goaltenders, it's like it's anyone's guess. Again, it comes down to like the GM. It's like the guy that they would go most crazy for, you know. And I think some of them blow their brains out, like the big $10 million man in Florida. You know, although Florida's having a pretty good year right now, but isn't he injured, Bobrovsky? Or is he playing right now?
I don't know. I mean, Bobrovsky's not worth that money.
No, he's not. Man, I would not mind having Barkov if we could fucking just like go down there and like kidnap him. You know, like I'm not even proposing a trade, just like a full on like kidnapping. You know. No, I mean maybe like we'll like kidnap him and then leave behind like a bunch of picks, you know, a bunch of draft picks, but then we'll leave the team name off them, you know, just so they don't know which team it was. And like a note being like, look, I'm sorry, we had to take Barkov. He's too good, and we really feel like he deserves to be somewhere where, you know, he can flourish and he's properly nourished, you know, and encouraged, and he can.
So it's not really a malicious kidnapping. It's like a Raising Arizona style kidnapping.
It's a friendly kidnapping. Yeah, it's like when why don't we leave it there though, bro? Well, a nice saucy edit. And to the fans, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you real soon, and hope you enjoyed the win as much as we did. Yeah, what more is there to say? Onward and upward, my friends. Where we clinched a playoff spot. Get used to it. We got a great team, you know. Time to
clinch, not clench.
Clinch, not clench. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to boat mode. It's time for boat mode, bro. Okay.
Yeah, it's time for boat mode.
All right. Later, bro.